Thank you for visiting Think IT Project Management. I'd like to take a few moments to talk about an important subject, and that subject is managing issues as part of your project. I came across a few tips for managing your issues based on the experience that I've had over the last number of years, as I've been a project manager for at least 15 years. Obviously, as part of a project, issues will take place, and you have to have a game plan on how you want to be able to manage those issues ahead of time so that you can be as efficient as possible with managing your issues. Maintaining an issue log is obviously the first step. And as part of that issue log, you should always assign an owner to issues who can resolve the problem. You don't just want to put a name for the sake of putting a name alongside an issue and expecting someone to be able to follow up on that issue. You want to make sure that you are assigning that issue to someone who can resolve the problem. Very important. And secondly, you want to establish issue priority. Working on the assumption that you'll have multiple issues as part of just about any project, right? Whether it be 2 or 3 or 10, 20, 30, right? Depending on the size of the project and the complexity of the project. You want to be able to have a game plan for organizing these issues. Typically, it could be low, medium, or high. And one of the reasons you do this is because typically for most projects, right, you have a finite amount of resources that you're going to be working with to address these issues. And a common challenge for these resources is, what do I work on first? How do I prioritize my time? There's only so many hours in a day. So you want to be able to help organize your issue list for the folks that are going to be responsible for working through these issues to the point of resolution. Again, working the assumption that you're going to have finite resources and that these resources are going to have more than one issue, even perhaps assigned to them. Who should work on what issue first? Again, in the same spirit of working to prioritize the issue list and organizing the folks that are assigned to address these issues. You want to provide as much clarity as far as what the game plan is going to be to address these issues. What is the priority? How can they schedule and budget their time to address the issues? What is most critical that I should be working on right now, as opposed to other issues that may not be as critical that I can perhaps table for a later time? Very important. This way, you are putting your team in the best position to be successful with not only managing these issues, but resolving these issues as well. You want to be able to track the progress of your issues, and basically one of the key important components that I have in tracking issues is track issue reported date and estimated target date for resolution. You want to avoid having open-ended issues in terms of when are you expected to resolve this issue. There are times where there has to be exceptions given the nature of the issue. Maybe you don't control all of the variables that are involved in resolving these issues. If you're working with a vendor that has to play a role, or if it is something that there is no point of reference for the company, right, or the team in terms of the type of issue that is being addressed, no precedent, right? So it is difficult at that in such an example to be able to determine how long it's going to take to resolve that issue. But you do want to try to provide some constraints, right? And as you prioritize your issues and challenge the team to be able to resolve them within a particular time period. That will also help with prioritizing issues for the team, or allowing the team to prioritize their time and the issues that they're assigned. So it's important so that you can sense that you can determine that if there's going to be a target date for resolution. Okay. The second, not the second, but the next item I want to cover is communicate status to sponsor and key stakeholders in a timely and consistent manner. Very important. You don't want your stakeholders who know that there are issues to be guessing about where everyone is at, or where the project is at, or the program is at with respect to issues. Are the issues going to threaten a critical milestone? Are the issues going to threaten the critical path? Is it going to cost us more money for one reason or another? You don't want to keep your sponsor and key stakeholders guessing. That is only going to create more noise into the system. With additional emails and with fire drills and with concerns that go up the ladder, and it may end up causing a distraction for the team if now they have to address some of these concerns that could have been addressed with a good communication plan, that now they have to turn their attention away from managing these issues to bring key stakeholders or the sponsor up to speed as to where everyone is at with the issues and what potential impact that means to the project. Review and update your issues log as often as necessary, but be consistent, and this is very important, especially if you post the issues list in whatever form or format to make it available to your key stakeholders and to the project sponsor. You want to be consistent as to where that information can be made available, would be made available, and how often, what is the frequency for you to update that issues list. Again, when you are better prepared in this fashion, you limit the noise that can take place in a project, especially when there are issues. Folks typically, if they have a question, they know where to go to find hopefully the answer to their question. And it also shows yourself to be prepared and to take into consideration that they're taking into consideration the needs of your stakeholders and your sponsor, and it shows you to be organized. Very important. Because when folks do not feel that they know what's going on, if there's anxiety, if they're worried, if they're concerned that there is some impact that they cannot get their arms around, they're going to make noise. They're going to make noise. The emails are going to come about, the phone calls. Folks are going to be unhappy, and that's what we try to avoid by trying to step ahead of the game, trying to get ahead of the game with being prepared with how we manage our issues. Establish war rooms when necessary. War rooms are meetings that include the resources that have the ability to resolve issues. And here's what's key: real time. This is something, a technique I've used in the past that has proven its worth in gold. When you have a complex project, when you have multiple issues that are to be assigned to various team members, not even outside of the project team that you're working on, it could be across the organization. You want to have what I call these war rooms, where it's a concentrated effort, where you take these issues with the folks that can fix the problem, and you work those problems real time. It could be in person, in a conference room as an example, where the issues are posted on the wall and the progress is being tracked. But more importantly, the folks that are there who can address those issues. In the past, I've also used WebEx or some video conferencing, and I've been the driver on those calls. And that's another key component of the war room concept, is that you have to have someone who is going to drive the issues, and someone who's going to be what I'll call the driver. That individual who will be coordinating the issue resolution process, where you assign issues to someone who can fix it, you track the progress, you update your issues list, you make sure that issues list is posted where key stakeholders and your sponsor have access to it, so that they can see either the progress that you're making or the challenges that you're having. I was managing not that long ago a very large initiative, and we were 3 weeks behind schedule. And I brought to their attention this concept of the war rooms with what I'll call these individuals that are dedicated just for the issue resolution process. The SWAT team is what I'll refer to them. Individuals who are going to be dedicated to resolving these issues, which is the second point of this technique here. You want to have resources, again, as I mentioned, who can resolve the problem, but you also want to make sure that they have enough allocation assigned, right, to deal with these problems. Because it doesn't do us any good if you have someone who is assigned to the project who can solve all of your problems, but they're only allocated, let's say, at 5%, and you really need them to be dedicated at 25% allocation to your project. So if they're not properly allocated, they're not going to be in a position to help the team. Okay, so this is a few tips for managing issues for your project. I thank you for taking the time to listen in and to go over this video. Please visit thinkitprojectmanagement.com, new website that we're building to try to provide information, tips, training in the subject matter of IT project management, and your comments, your emails are welcome. Thank you.